The Oracle Network. Look deeper.
Ugh, I'm in like the, I can't tell if I want a sweater. Right? I put it on, I'm sweating. Take it off, I'm cold.
Cold sweat.
It's just clammy right now.
I know. I feel your pain.
I'm just sticky.
Sticky, that's the right word. I know, I can't find something that's like, it's either too light or too heavy. And
Yeah.
I don't have anything in between.
This is an Oregon almost fall where you wear sandals, a tank top, but a sweater, and jeans.
Heyo.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby.
And I'm Shawna.
And this is Anxious.
And Afraid.
We're a podcast.
Yes, we are.
We're a true crime comedy podcast.
Who talk about weird things
Yep.
and tragic things.
And
And that's what we like.
stuff that's going to stress you out and
Make you anxious.
glad you're here for it.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Just at the top, we wanted to mention, you might have noticed we have some new ads.
Yes.
We switched hosting sites, a little background knowledge for you.
Yeah, the behind the scenes.
And those get automatically placed. So
Yeah, we don't choose those.
we don't choose the ads. I'm sorry if you don't like the ad that you get. We didn't pick that for you. We weren't like, you want to listen to this
This one.
to this one.
Yeah, I picked which ad you get. So
Yeah, when I said we don't pick it, I meant Shawna and I don't pick it, but Michael definitely does pick it.
I assign them individually. I think about it really hard.
Yeah. He's like, this one wants a community college ad, and this one wants a car ad for sure.
It's just a new passion.
So anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Whose turn is it? It's your turn.
It's to tell a story.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, so.
What made you anxious or afraid this week, Shawna?
Oh my god. Okay, so our coworker friend that apparently knows Kathy Bird.
Right.
We mentioned this before, and it rocked my world.
From your reincarnation case.
Yeah, the Lou Gehrig one, and that they went to high school and all the schools together. And she finally replied to him because she was like, hey, or he mentioned us, like, hey, my friend is doing a podcast and did an episode on you, by the way, haha. And so now she knows our podcast, and she's aware of my name, and now I feel like I have to email her and say hi, and now I'm really nervous. But
She seems really nice.
Oh, yeah. And Trevor said she was super approachable. I'm like, I know. I'm just fangirling and need to think about something 30 million times before I send it.
You're just going to be like, hi.
Hope you like what I did. Bye.
Bye. Don't ever look at me again.
Yeah, so I'll give an update on that sometime
That's
soon.
so cool.
It's weird.
Oh, that is so weird. Just to think, this podcast brought you to someone.
Oh my god, and so quickly.
Yeah.
Just random. So random.
Yeah.
Anyways, what about you?
What about me? Oh, well, my dad got into a trucking accident a few days ago.
Oh no.
He's okay, but he did fracture his clavicle. There's a big old rock that slid into the road and he hit it.
Scary.
I know. We've had a lot of crazy ass storms the last couple weeks.
Oh my gosh, we have. Luckily, because we're not in smoke anymore. By the
Yay,
way,
you guys.
but we've had some storms. But yeah, we're not in smoky air anymore. We can go back outside, which is nice.
Yeah, we can breathe the air. The fires aren't 100% contained or even 50% contained.
No, but 30, which is better than 0.
Yeah. So good job, firefighters. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're in a lot better place for air.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we've had a lot of crazy windstorms, rainstorms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he hit a rock and that sucked. But
I'm glad he's okay.
If you're listening, Dad, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, me too.
Also, I didn't tell you last weekend because I had to buy stuff for your little birthday party.
Oh yeah, I turned 30.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay.
Shauna turned 30. It was really fun.
Yeah, you guys gave me the most adorable little party.
We did a little 90s theme party because she's born in the 90s.
And space, little plates and napkins because I love galaxy outer space stuff.
And there was cinnamon rolls. That was really good. But what I didn't tell you is I was stressed out that day because I realized I lost my driver's license.
No, that's the worst.
I have no idea where or how or like...
You don't go anywhere.
I know. I can't find it anywhere. It must have like the 2 times I left my house in 2 weeks. Somewhere there's a kid buying beer with it.
Oh,
so
no.
rock on. I hope you have a good time.
Did no one contacted you? I actually had the last time I lost my ID is when I was like walking around Eugene. We were like watching a Halt Center show, and I realized I dropped my ID, and I was like, "Fuck, that sucks so hard." But then the lady found me on Facebook and mailed it to me, and I'm like, "You're an angel. I love you."
That's really nice. Well, I had my old address on there, so
bummer.
Which I was actually kind of glad about because I'm more of the paranoid thinking where I'm like, someone's gonna find me.
Know where you live, yeah. They have your picture.
Yeah, so I'm like, sorry to the sucker that lives with my old address.
Well, you better make an appointment now so you can get it in 6 months. Or
No, all I had to do was I just ordered it online.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because you probably don't even like need to redo it.
Yeah, I just lost it. So
Gotcha.
that was my thing. That's always fun to lose your ID.
Adult problems.
God damn it. There was a fun correction from last week.
That none of us caught, which is hilarious.
None of us realized it, but a new friend named Ashley, she is on the That's So Fucked Up podcast. She's one of the hosts over there. It's a great podcast. She messaged us and she was like, I don't know if you realize, but in your like haunted South Eugene High School auditorium episode,
right,
when you were listing the famous people, you said that the guy was an anti-folk war singer instead of an anti-war folk singer.
Which sounds right, but it's not.
Yeah, I meant the opposite of that, but I was like an anti-folk war singer, and I was like, Toby Keith is who that is.
That's hilarious. I'm surprised we don't do that more.
A war singer. She's like, you have to make that into a t-shirt.
Right?
Yeah, so oops. My bad.
We're going to do that. Tell us when we do it if we miss it.
And we had another fun fact that came about from last. Do you want to talk about it? About Jolie?
Oh, so our friend Jolie, she's been talked about on the podcast before. She's pulled our cards. Her husband Jason did JFK. Mm-hmm. And when she listens to the episode, we totally forget because we like didn't grow up with Jolie. We met her through work down the line. And she was also a theater kid. Mm-hmm. So that's why we meshed so well, duh. Mm-hmm. But we forget. And she's like, I also remember being there for a state competition. Were we there for the same state competition? We didn't know each other yet? And we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, we were. And Brittany also verified with us.
She did. Thank you. We asked you and she came through and told us we were there.
Thank you, Britt, coming through.
Yeah, so we were there. Crazy.
Yeah, we were all there at the same time. It's such a weird, small world.
Small world.
We were in that haunted auditorium for sure.
I guess. Hopefully, yeah.
We were in there for sure. I'm pretty sure I remember going in there.
I don't remember, but
yeah. Weird.
Yeah. I think that's what we got. It's been another little while, so we had to list a little handful of things.
Quite the list, but yeah, I think we're ready for you to make us anxious
and afraid. All right, so we tend to go back and forth, and it's my turn this time to say a story to dear sweet Abby, and I hope this is a fun one. I think this is a fun one. Because I wanted a fun one.
Okay.
I think my mental and emotional capacity is just tapped out. So I was like, I need a fun one.
That's good. I think because mine next week is gonna be dark.
Cool.
Dark and long. So
I'll balance it out.
Yeah, give us a nice palate cleanser.
Okay, so I actually want to use this fancy little noise thing to give you a clue of what we're gonna talk about today.
Aliens? Yeah. I'm excited.
We're going back to aliens. Are you ever going to do an alien one, I wonder? Or is that like my jam? Is that my thing?
I don't know. I like alien stories. There's a few
You're just like more of a skeptic about it, so like...
No, I'm not even like a skeptic. I think I get intimidated by the science behind a lot of it because I'm such like a science geek. I really want to understand it and I don't want to talk about it without fully...
Yeah, you'll probably dive real too deep into it.
That's what I do.
And I'm so just like, here's just the fun stuff.
Yeah, and so I'm like, if I'm going to do it, it's going to be a chore, so I have to be like mentally prepared.
All right, that's fine.
But I have Michael. I'm sure he could help.
Well, no pressure. I love all the aliens, so...
Yeah.
Yes, we're going back to aliens, and I chose to do the alien abduction of Travis Walton. Have you heard his name before?
Ooh, I don't know.
He's a pretty famous one. He's a big one.
Okay, I might recognize the story. I'm bad at names.
Yeah. I think I know too many, like, alien stories, so I'm just like, is this very... Like, I keep mixing it with the story of, like, Betty and Barney Hill, because I did that one. I'm like, I can't...
They probably run together.
But they do have, like, the same experience. I'm like, it makes sense. So.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. So, quick little introduction. I wanted to explain that there are 5 different kinds of UFO encounters.
Okay.
And there are the encounters of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th kind, if you've heard those kind of phrases before. So, the encounter of the first kind is when somebody witnesses a UFO within 150 meters.
Okay.
The second kind is when a UFO is either in the sky or in the ground, and it leaves behind some sort of evidence, such as like scorched ground or dented marks in the ground.
Okay.
The third kind is when there's visible occupants that are seen inside the UFO, very similar to Barney's experience.
Okay.
Encounters of the fourth kind is when somebody is taken into the aircraft and is experimented on. Probed.
Hashtag probe.
And encounter of the fifth kind involves having direct communication between the aliens and the humans, whether that be verbal or telepathic, but there's some sort of communication.
Okay.
So those are the things.
Oh, there's 5. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you said there were 6. Like, wait, what is 6?
No.
You turn into an alien.
Then you live with them and never return.
You convert.
You convert. Okay.
Yeah, what's the movie? Is it Encounters of the...
I think there's
3rd?
Yeah, and then there was the fourth kind is the name of that other movie. But
yeah.
I don't know how related they are.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think there's 2 movies called, like, Encounters of the Third or Fourth Kind.
Yeah.
One's a Spielberg.
Okay. Right. Is that the one with the light up panels and they communicate? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Makes sense. All right. So that was very Linda of me. Sorry. So on November 5th, 1975, we're in the 70s.
Okay.
And Travis Walton is 22 at the time. Okay. He and 6 other coworkers, their names are Michael Rogers, Alan Davis, John Goulet, Kenneth Peterson, Steve Pierce, and Dwayne Smith. Okay, so they are working with the Timber Stand Improvement Crew in the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forest near Snowflake, Arizona. So these are like what you'd call lumberjacks or log workers.
Okay.
You know, the jeans and the plaid and the hard hats.
Yes, you have encapsulated it perfectly.
They chop down the trees and they love it.
There's like sawdust, there's like bark and moss and like logs and like saws.
Exactly. Sorry, that really tickled me.
Timber.
Okay. Timber. All right. Okay, so after a long day of forestry work, the 7 guys loaded into their pickup truck. Pickup truck. Say it again. It's going to be a rough one, guys.
Pickup truck.
And they loaded their chainsaws, their gas, their oil cans. I'm just passing through it.
It's fine. You continue strong.
You just really tickled me there. Well, okay, so all the young men took their normal spots. The smokers sat in the back and the non-smokers in the front.
Okay. They
started driving back home by 6:10 p.m., and they were expected to be home before 7:30 p.m. Travis is sitting shotgun in front, and on the drive home, the group of men spot a bright light shining through the trees. Don't know. And at first they thought it was the sun setting, as it beautifully does through the trees. Mm-hmm. But then they're like, oh, wait a second. The sun already set 30 minutes ago, so that's not right.
Ooh.
What? Double sun. So the guys continued forward towards the brilliant yellowish bright light ahead. And they could only see the light through some dense trees at that point. One man described it, and he's like trying to rationalize it. Like, is this a plane that crashed in the trees? Is there a campfire or searchlights? What is that?
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of light. Like it'd have to something to produce that much light. Yeah.
Yes. So they continued down to rush towards it to get a better view. Once they were close enough, everyone fell silent and in shock.
They're still in the truck?
Yes.
Okay.
But they get close enough to it to see it. Someone shouted, "Stop the truck." As they skidded onto the side of the road, Travis flew open the door to get a better view. And one of the other men actually shouted, "Oh my God, this is a flying saucer." So it wasn't even Travis who said it, but he's like opening his door to see it.
Oh.
And they're like, "Oh shit, it's a fucking saucer."
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Oh, I know. Okay. And this is like one of like the famous ones too, because there's witnesses. Like there's more than just one or two people claiming this, which makes it very interesting. And it just had a lot of national news. So
those are the fun ones, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, where you have a little bit more substance to it.
Exactly. Makes it more interesting. Saucy. Okay. So they saw what they saw was a golden glowing disc-shaped craft silently hovering 20 feet, only 20 feet above the ground.
That's not very high.
They were looking right at it.
Ooh.
That's way too close. The estimated overall diameter of the craft was about 15 to 20 feet and about 8 to 10 feet thick.
Thick.
Aliens know that they need to make it thick.
They know to always make it thick. They know what's up.
And so the flattened disc was shaped like two gigantic pie pans that were lip to lip, and then a small bowl placed on top upside down. So very classic alien.
Like our little toy here.
Yeah, very classic alien shape. Underneath, it appeared that there was panel-shaped windows outlining the edge of the craft, protruding a yellowish golden glow of light. So they're looking underneath it still, and the edges are pretty much bright windows.
Okay.
With the middle, whatever. Metal.
Yeah, it's the middle.
Yeah. So they had more curiosity, or Travis had more curiosity because he's like bouncing out of the truck, and he goes towards the craft. He's a ballsy one.
No.
Yeah. And the other guys don't.
Yeah.
The guys yell at him to come back to the truck, dude.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? But he continues towards it. And this is where he notices it's pretty much smooth. There's no hatchet. There's no antenna of any kind. He doesn't see a door.
Okay.
Just those windows. So suddenly, Travis was startled and jumped because of a powerful surge of energy coming from the craft. Travis describes the craft as starting to quickly wobble, as if the spinning top was starting to lose its balance.
Yeah.
You know what that looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of starting to lose control.
Yes, getting wobbly. But the same side always faced him, so it wasn't spinning. It was definitely wobbling fast.
Weird.
So then there was a bright blue ray of light that shot out from underneath it, and Travis was standing right in the middle of it.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, you can just picture this so
This
clear.
is a classic abduction.
Classic. You can totally picture it.
Is he just going to float? He's going to float, isn't he?
Well, kind of.
Okay.
Anyways, so he felt like a high voltage electrocution, and doesn't remember seeing or hearing anything after that light hit him. The guys back at the truck were witnessing the whole thing, and they described seeing Travis's body begin to arch backwards with his arms and legs out, and the surge of light was so powerful that it blew and lifted Travis off the ground and threw him backwards into the air about 10 to 15 feet.
Oh, shit.
So it was they almost describe it like a lightning strike kind of hitting somebody, just boom.
You're like, yeah. And he went flying
backwards. And he hit the ground really hard. His body lay motionless and limp, and the guys were pretty much convinced that he was instantly dead.
Yeah.
Like, it was that hard.
Rude.
Rude. They even yelled, "Oh my God, they killed him." And so they're terrified. These guys started up the truck and bounced the fuck out of there. They're like, bye.
Sorry, Travis.
Sorry, bye.
R.I.P. We have to go.
Exactly. So I'm actually going to continue. Hold on. I have notes here. With Travis's experience. So he starts to slowly wake up.
Oh, no.
He's having, like, he remembers the life being knocked out of him. He has excruciating pain, headache. He's struggling. He's super weak. He can't even, like, open his eyes. Like, he's trying to focus.
I mean, if you flew 10 feet and hit the ground, you'd probably have a concussion, I would think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So he's starting to open his eyes and focus them. He sees a light above him in a rectangle shape, and he thinks that he's waking up in a hospital, as a rational person would. But he's not.
Oh, Travis.
No. He starts noticing that the ceiling doesn't look quite right. Mm-hmm. It's almost like Alice in Wonderland style, where one side is very large, and then all of a sudden, the other side is very small.
Weird.
He's laying down, and he starts to try to lift his head. And he feels something heavy laying on the front side of his chest. It's something that feels smooth and cool to the touch, and was slightly wrapped and curved to hug the sides of his abdomen. So he's not fully wrapped in it, but something is hugging his full top abdomen.
Like a metal band?
A metal sheet hug, a hug of a sheet metal. Whatever that is.
Sure, it's very cozy.
I think I can get some pictures of drawings of what he described it as.
Okay.
And it's thick, it's gray, it's a device.
Mm-hmm.
He then looks above this device and starts to see 3 blurry figures standing next to him.
Oh, no.
He notices that they were wearing a strange yellow surgical suit, but while his vision cleared, he thought these were doctors wearing face masks and caps. But then he realizes these are terrifying aliens.
Oh, no.
He gets so startled, he jumps up off the table in terror.
Mm-hmm.
And while jolting up, he actually collides with one of them. And when he touches that alien body, he says it felt soft, as like through its clothes, kind of like a sponginess texture. Isn't that gross?
I don't know how to feel about that.
The aliens are spongy.
They don't have any bones.
I mean,
we don't know.
Probably. I don't know. So the device on his chest flung off when he flew off the table. Mm-hmm. It crashed onto the floor upside down, and it was shining a green hue towards the floor on its face side.
Okay.
There was no cords attached to Travis or attached to that machine. It was just on its own.
Okay.
Travis backed himself up to the wall and was leaning against it still because he felt very weak. He was like still struggling to even stand.
Yeah.
The 3 humanoid creatures slowly started walking towards him with their hands reaching out. Ah! Travis looks around for something that he could grab to defend himself, and he finds this like long, transparent cylinder, tube-looking like thing. And he starts screaming at the creatures, like, "Get the fuck away!" He even tries to break that or glass tube, and it's way too sturdy. It's space stuff, so it doesn't break.
We always make it thick, so he can't break that.
Can't break that thick shit. So that doesn't budge. And all of a sudden, the creatures just stood still, and were just completely silent, staring at him. Super creepy. So I'm gonna actually read a couple paragraphs from an excerpt. What? Am I making up words here? Yeah, from his book that he wrote. And so we're gonna take a quick little break so I can get that set up.
Okay.
All right, so the book that he wrote is called Fire in the Sky, and here is a description of those 3 aliens that I thought was really well put. So he describes them as, they stood still, mutely. They were a little under 5 feet in height. They had a basic humanoid form, 2 legs, 2 arms, hands with 5 digits each, and a head with a normal human arrangement of features. But beyond the outline, any similarity to humans was terrifyingly absent. Their thin bones were covered with white, marshmallowy-looking flesh.
Marshmallowy. Raw marshmallowy, probably.
Yeah, because they're kind of spongy. Makes sense.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you for participating in that argument, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We had a pretty equal turnout, I thought.
Yeah, people died. There was people that ate their marshmallows exactly the same way that I did.
Like, describing it to a T.
Yeah.
Totally. They're still wrong, but it's
burnt marshmallows unite. I'm passionate.
Just kidding. I love it. All right. Back to it.
Anyway.
They
marshmallow skin.
Marshmallow skin. Correct. Marshmallows. They had on a single piece coverall type suit made of soft suede-like material, orangish brownish in color. I could not see any grain in the material such as a cloth would have. In fact, their clothes did not appear to even have any seams. I saw no buttons, no zippers, or snaps. They wore no belts. The loose, billowy garment was gathered at the wrist and perhaps the ankles. They didn't have any kind of raised collar at the neck. They wore simple pinkish tan footwear. I could not make out the details of their shoes, but they had very small feet, about a size 4 in our measure. Yeah, they're always kind of small and cute, right?
Yeah.
Well, small. They extended their hands toward me. I noticed they had no fingernails. Their hands were small, delicate, and without hair. Their thin, round fingers looked soft and unwrinkled. Their smooth skin was so pale that it looked chalky like ivory. Give me the chills, just like
creepy. I know, I'm like piecing it together as you say it. I'm like, oh.
It's just chilling.
We're all wearing adult onesies.
Exactly. Bunched at the ankles and the wrists. Their bald heads were disproportionately large for their puny bodies.
They had such big brains.
Exactly. They had bulging, oversized craniums and a small jaw structure, and an underdeveloped appearance to their features was almost infantile. Their thin-lipped mouths. Their thin-lipped mouths were narrow. I never saw them open. Lying close to their heads on either side were tiny crinkled lobes for ears. Their miniature round noses had small oval nostrils. The only facial feature that didn't appear underdeveloped were those incredible eyes. Those glistening orbs had brown irises twice the size of those of a normal human eye, nearly an inch in diameter.
Wow.
The iris was so large that even parts of the pupils were hidden by the lids, giving the eyes a certain cat-like appearance. There was very little of the white part of the eye showing. They had no lashes, no eyebrows. All of the screaming and the hysterical questions I had thrown at them, they never once said anything to me. I did not hear them speak to each other. Their mouths never made any kind of sound or motion. The only sounds I heard were those of movements and my own voice.
That's even creepier that they don't make any noise.
Right?
Ooh.
Classic creepy. It's gross.
Okay. Well, yep. It's always interesting that people, when they get abducted, almost always describe aliens in, like, humanoid forms.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to think about evolutionary. Like, is a humanoid form the best form? Like, why is, do you know what I mean? Like, why would another completely different race evolve into the same shape?
Yeah, but standing upright is pretty useful, right?
Yeah. I have good things to say about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I get your point. I guess we always just, like, compare ourselves to, like, and creatures to how they relate to humans. Because, like, you think about that with, like, Bigfoot and stuff. Like, he's a walking, upright, ape-like human, but he's covered in hair.
Yeah.
Aliens are not.
Right.
And they're smaller.
It's just interesting.
It is interesting.
Anyway.
Anyways. All right. So back to Travis's little alien reality here. Okay, so all of a sudden, the 3 aliens ran out of the room. That's a twist.
They're like, never mind.
They're, like, grabbing towards him, and then they're, like, bouncing out. Yeah.
On second thought.
Bye.
He looks like a biter. We're going to have to go.
Yeah. Still stunned, Travis tries to breathe, and he wants to get out of this room. Looking out the doorway, he saw no one around, and he goes down the hall in the opposite direction that he saw the aliens go. While going down this hall, Travis sees another open room. In this room, he sees a chair facing away from him. And as he entered the room, the walls got dark, and all of a sudden stars all around him appeared, somewhat like a planetarium. Even through the floor.
That's cool.
That's like my dream.
Like a navigation system.
Yes. He was wondering if this was actually like turning into like a window, if he was actually seeing the ship fly through space or not.
Whoa.
He didn't know if it was real or not.
Yeah, that would be real trippy. How do you know what? Yeah.
And what is the chair for?
Yeah.
Like you'd think it would be like to fly it or something. Well, he tests it out. He's going for it.
Oh, Travis is ballsy.
He's a ballsy guy.
He's just like marches up to the spaceship and then he's like, I'll fly it. Sure.
I'm already in it. Might as well push all the buttons. I mean, tell me not to push a button. I'm going to push it.
I'm going to push those buttons.
And he pushes the buttons.
I'd be scared to push buttons in
I would be too.
UFO.
I would sit in the chair but not touch anything.
But I would sit in the chair.
I'm going to like sit in the chair and just imagine.
Like, I'm captain now.
Of the universe.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes. He even tested it out so he would walk backwards towards out of the room, and then the walls would start to turn into like regular walls again.
Okay.
So he went back to the chair, it would turn into the stars.
He's just like jumping back and forth out of the room. He's like, space, not space. Space, not space.
That would be fun. But he was like, okay, now I'm going to go sit in this damn chair.
Okay.
He notices that there is a screen and colored buttons such as controls, and there is also a lever. There's no words or symbols on anything, but he decides to push the buttons.
Pull the lever, Kronk.
He does pull the lever. I didn't write it down, but like he said when he described pulling the lever, all the stars actually started moving down, but then he retracted it, and then the stars stopped and stayed in that place. So he thought that was really weird. But maybe it's like a training, like what
simulation?
Simulation to
simulator.
Maybe.
Oh,
it was very interesting.
But
that's what the lever did, and then he got scared.
Too real.
Too scary. And while he's playing with all the buttons and gears and stuff, he actually gets caught.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, they're just gonna let him
just fly the plane now, or the craft saucer.
He seems like a natural. He's very confident.
He knows exactly what those buttons do.
Yeah.
But he gets caught by a human.
What?
Not an alien, a human. So he describes this as a tall, muscular, studly looking of a man.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like good looking. Float your boat.
Float your boat.
Whatever floats your boat, Travis.
That's what you change your sentence to. Float your boat.
Just float it. He's wearing a space suit and was standing in the doorway. His suit was blue and smooth, and he was wearing a transparent helmet around his head. Travis was relieved to see another human being at first, like, oh my god, I would too.
Yeah.
So he like runs up to this guy and is like babbling all of these questions. What is this? Where am I? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And this guy never says a word to him. He also keeps shut. So this spaceman grabs Travis by the arm and he guides him down the hallway into another room. The two enter a lobby-looking area and is approaching a closed door, which would eventually slide open. So they're in an elevator.
Okay.
So they're in this elevator for 2 minutes, and the door slides open on the...
I'm just like picturing the awkward ride down, like
silent.
Do they have music?
What's alien elevator music?
It's just that sound effect over and over again.
Right. Yeah, that would be an awkward
2 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah, and then the opposite side of the elevator opens.
Okay.
And so they actually find themselves exiting the aircraft. They were now in a large airlocked warehouse-looking room.
Okay.
And it had a bright daylight glow with the windows curved around the ceiling, it was shaped like a half cylinder laying on its flat side.
Okay.
So
it's like a big dome, kind of? Or...
Yeah. It reminds me of like a warehouse or like an airplane warehouse.
Yeah, like an airplane hangar.
Yeah. And because then he looks back and he sees, oh, that's the whole craft. That's the whole craft.
So he's like outside of it now?
He's outside the craft.
Okay.
Yeah. So the space guy takes him through into another door and into another hallway and into another room.
Wow.
And in that other room, 3 other humans are found inside it. They all look alike. They are also wearing the same smooth blue velvety suits. He notices right away that 2 are male and 1 is female. And but these 3 do not have glass helmets around their heads.
Okay. And neither does Travis, so he's still on Earth, right?
Well, that's why he was like, this must be like airlocked because we can breathe. Like they had to make sure the craft went into a place where humans could be.
So
right?
at this point, does he think he's like on another planet?
I mean, where else would you be? You'd have to be in another planet.
I don't know. I was immediately like they took him to Area 51. And
well, who knows?
I don't know.
But it looks, I don't know. I would think he's in another dimension. Yeah, it's just freaking weird. It's weird all around. They lead him to lay on another table. This is not great.
Is he just chill at this point? He's like, all right.
Well, he did say that like after a while he kind of just like gave up. He felt defeated. He's like, well, at least I'm with humans. What are these humans going to do to me?
Especially when they just don't react or talk to you.
Exactly. And he's just like, what the fuck? And like, what are you going to do? You don't know where you're at. You think you're in space. Terrifying. So he kind of says, I gave up and just followed them.
He's like, all right.
But then he's like on this table and he's like, wait. Is this where I'm actually going to get probed here? Because I don't consent to this. And even though he's asking all these questions and kind of like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to lay down. They still never spoke to him. Not at all. No movement of their mouth and nothing even telepathically. He hears nothing from these creatures or humans.
Wow, but they look like humans.
They look like humans, but they look like weird humans. Like, there's a drawing of it. Like, maybe they have, like, maybe a bulging forehead. Like, they're just, like, something off.
A little off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they look pretty human.
I'm already drawing up some theories.
I'm pretty much picturing Star Trek. Like, just everyone from Star Trek.
Morph? Wait, what's his name? Worf.
Yep.
Morph.
Good job for you knowing that. I don't know.
I've watched some Star Trek. My mom's a total Trekkie.
Oh, cute. I remember as a kid, but I haven't watched anything recently. But I'm pretty much picturing Star Trek people.
Well, they have a new one, don't they? It's a Picard or...
Yeah, there's a couple new Star Trek series.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, space is always cool.
Yeah.
All right. So while he's like being placed on this table, the female has what looks like to be a clear oxygen mask in her hand, but it wasn't connected to anything. And it had a golf ball sized black sphere in the middle of it. And she has this in her hand and is approaching his face with it.
Here we go.
And it puts it over his nose and mouth. He loses consciousness.
Just gave him the good stuff.
Right? I bet it's really good stuff.
I bet he feels so rested.
So now we're going to describe his return. So he loses consciousness, and the next thing that Travis remembers is waking up on the side of a road.
Okay.
He was lying face down, and when he looks up, he sees a spacecraft hovering only 4 feet above the pavement, and it was gone in a flash.
Ooh.
So he does recognize the road that he was dropped off on. He knew that he was somewhere in Heber County in Arizona. So he's pretty close by to where he lives and where he was originally abducted.
Okay.
He recognizes the signs and stuff. He's still very weak, but he is able to walk down the road until he got in to a gas station payphone. He used the operator option because he didn't have no coins. But it worked, and he was able to call the number of his sister. So this is in the middle of the night. It is 12:05 a.m.
And they were supposed to get home at like 7:30 or something that night?
Yeah, so it's been a handful of hours. And his brother-in-law ends up answering the phone, and his brother-in-law's name is Grant.
Mm-hmm.
He is like reluctantly wanting to pick up Travis. Like, dude, it's late. What are you doing? So he's like, all right, I'll come pick you up, dude. And to help him out, Grant decides to call Travis's brother, whose name is Dwayne. And Dwayne. And they go together to help deal with Travis. Travis stayed sitting at the phone booth, and he was so relieved to finally see some familiar faces. He only remembers about 2 hours worth, but if it was midnight at that point, 4 to 5 hours would have passed.
Yeah.
And he only remembers half of it.
Oh, shoot.
Grant and his brother Dwayne just looked at him stunned. Besides this outlandish abduction story, because obviously he's spewing like, oh my god, I was just dropped off by aliens.
They're like, dude, you can just tell us, like, we'll come get you. You don't have to say it was aliens.
I'm like, we know you did drugs, man. It's fine.
We're not judging.
But they're like just looking at him so strangely. And of course, you would look at somebody very strange if they're talking about being abducted by aliens. Mm-hmm. But Travis knew that it was just a little bit something else of why they were looking at him so strange. And Dwayne...
Did they, like, tattoo something on his forehead?
That would be bad. No, Dwayne looks at him and tells Travis to feel his face. Travis was like, whoa, I just shaved this morning. Why do I have all this grow out?
What?
He has like a scruff now on his face.
Whoa.
Grow out. Dwayne tries to break it pretty calmly to Travis and was like, dude, you've been missing and we've been searching for you for 5 days.
Whoa! Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 days later in the middle of the night.
Later. And he still only remembers 2 hours of that experience.
Holy shit.
Weird, right?
That's super weird. He's got like a beard now.
He has a beard now. So I'm going to return back to the 6 gentlemen who are like, okay, what the fuck happened to Travis?
Meanwhile.
Time
passes.
Okay. So, all right. So they're speeding off from the accident because they're freaking out.
They ditched Travis.
They ditched out. They're like, bye. And the driver was like, dude, look behind. Is it following us? Is it following us? And the guys just couldn't even look behind or say anything. They're literally at shock.
Just like frozen in fear.
Like, what did we just see happen to our friend? Like, that's so much to... That's overwhelming. Yeah.
How do you process that?
Exactly. These were, those typical 6 regular, no-nonsense woodsmen.
They're just looking for a beer at the end of the day.
They just like plaid and beer.
Just like plaid, goddammit.
And wood.
Give them some wood and some plaid.
They know what's up. But they were all reduced to mindless terror and didn't know what to do.
Oh, poor guys.
Yeah. They're tough men. Mm-hmm. After a while of talking about what they all witnessed and argued, because they were like, did you see what? Did you see that?
Right. Everyone's probably hoping that they're just being crazy.
Right.
That not everyone saw the same thing.
Right. And they're terrified, but they're arguing like, should we fucking go back and like get our friend? Hello.
Now they feel bad.
And they're like, no, we don't want to die. So they're arguing about it for a while.
They're like, Travis always leaves his containers in the refrigerator at work, and he doesn't do the dishes.
He eats my yogurt and doesn't ask.
Honestly, it's probably a blessing for us. Poor Travis.
Yes. But they, get enough courage, and they're like, it's the right thing to do.
Okay, so they're not calling the cops.
Not yet.
Okay.
So yeah, they decide to go back and search for Travis with the help of using their truck headlights. They know exactly where to go back to that spot, and they are calling out for Travis, his name, and there's no response.
We were here the whole time. We never left. Hey, Travis.
Are you waking up, dude? We were here.
We've been here the whole time.
But nothing. They don't even find his body. They don't find a piece of his clothing. No evidence of him at all.
Or of, like, the craft being there. It's just like...
Right.
Wow.
And apparently the craft was hovering over, like, a huge pile of, like, already cut trees. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, like... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. In some cases you hear of, like the burn off or whatever, or, like, when they take off, it, like, burns.
Right.
But...
Right.
I don't know. Different aliens, different ships.
Different encounters. There's different kinds, like I listed in the beginning.
All 5 of them.
There's 5 of them. So they have the horrible realization that they couldn't find their friend, and it washed over them that they headed back to the truck and were like, we need to tell the authorities about this.
Yeah.
And we have to tell them that we saw aliens.
Yeah, they're going to think we're crazy.
That would suck, especially if, like, you really saw one. If you really saw one, I would hate it because I'm like,
no one's going to believe
no,
you.
they're not going to believe me.
And now I'm crazy.
And exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good attention.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay. So the guys drive themselves to the nearest police station to speak to the sheriff. And they are still all full of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They are explaining this whole experience of what they witnessed. They said it was a UFO, and a light hit their friend Travis, and he blew away for 15 feet, and now he's gone, and we can't find him. And they were like, okay, what?
Yeah.
That's quite the story. But, like, these men were crying, describing it. They were still so afraid. So the sheriff was like, if they're acting, that's some pretty good acting.
Yeah.
These guys are shook up.
Clearly shook.
Clearly. So he was like, all right, let me at least tell my boss and get something started.
Yeah. And if they all have the same story. Like,
They do.
Yeah.
They do. So the sheriff was, of course, skeptical. I already said that, but he notified his supervisor. Then he agreed to go back with the guys to the site to go see if they can find Travis.
Mm-hmm.
The sheriff was growing even more suspicious of their story when they were looking around and there was no evidence of him.
Mm-hmm.
No scuff marks on the ground, nothing. They were starting to wonder if maybe the crew had murdered him. Was there an accident and they were like at fault?
Did Travis not label his stuff in the fridge?
And then they decided to tell a UFO story to get away with it?
Yeah, that's everyone's first plan.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like...
That would be why would you murder your friend and then say aliens did it?
Yeah, it just makes it worse. And how do you keep up with that? Like,
I don't know.
That's pretty elaborate, I think. Okay. So, yeah, the sheriff is getting suspicious of the dudes. And they give up on searching for him that night.
Okay.
Michael, who was kind of like the leader of their crew, so kind of like the assistant or the person you look up to. Mm-hmm. So you're going to hear of, like, Michael and the sheriff.
Okay.
So Michael and the sheriff decide to go break the news to Travis's mom, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
She is obviously completely stunned, shocked, confused of what they're saying happened.
Yeah, she's probably worried at this point.
I'm not even sure she knew until they told her, like, oh, by the way, Travis is missing.
Oh, yeah, because at this time, probably hadn't been that long since he'd gone missing, right?
Yeah, this is still the night of.
Yeah.
With the guys. So that night, they tell the mom. And what's odd is that she happened to ask if anyone else knew about this story other than the witnesses and police. And the sheriff found that kind of like a weird question. He thought that was odd. He's suspicious, so he's like, you guys are not saying things.
I don't know what that would mean, though.
I know. I'm just like, well, maybe she's just curious of, like, who knows this? Because it's a crazy, outlandish story.
Right.
So I don't think it would be that suspicious. But
she's
he
like,
found
does
it.
Brenda down the street know?
Who knows of this? Yeah, so whatever. But the sheriff is suspicious. Oh, so yeah. So by that next morning, so the following day, police, friends, and family, and along with volunteers, search the whole area all day long, and they still find nothing, no traces of anything.
Okay.
The search for him eventually dies down, and by that Saturday, the 8th, so he was abducted on November 5th, and now we're on the 8th, November 8th.
Okay.
What does that make it, 3 days?
Yeah.
Okay. And no one was really continuing to search for him, but his family.
Sad.
I know.
Poor Travis.
I know. I just feel like any kind of missing persons case, it seems just like police give up or don't take it seriously at first for some reason.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's always like, oh, well, he's an adult, he can leave. Oh, she is a runaway teen, they like to run away. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, probably because it happens so often, like, that people really do just leave or really do just run away. So
Do
that,
they?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that probably does happen a lot, and that's why police sometimes are insensitive to it.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, at least, like...
I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying, like, that's why probably.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, so his brother Dwayne is like, and he goes back to the police station and gives them a piece of his mind, and he is demanding that the continue be searched for his brother. They agreed to this, and they added off-road vehicles and helicopters.
Ooh.
So this is becoming pretty big, and people are noticing. And, of course, the media starts picking up on this story, and the hot gossip starts.
Oh, Brenda. Brenda down the street.
Brenda down the street. It's like, these neighbors were always weird.
I'm ready to spill the tea on my neighbors. Oh, are they Southern? What's their accent?
They're in Arizona.
Oh, I don't know what Arizona people sound like. Do they have an accent? I'm not sure.
I feel like all the states technically have a little bit of their own accent.
It's true. Mm-hmm. There's like parts of Oregon that people kind of sound Southern. In Southern Oregon.
I bet, yeah.
I've met people from there, and they kind of have a twang, and I'm like Jolie. Jolie has a bit of a twang.
Yeah. Well, she's from Virginia.
No, I thought Jason was from Virginia.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But they visited. Anyways. And she picked up on it. Anyways. All right, so news travels hella fast. And the search for Travis became national news. Mike and Dwayne end up doing a recorded interview explaining the whole story of the UFO sighting. And soon this would bite them in the ass. Because people are just going to be real cruel real fast, obviously.
Yeah, they're like, you want the attention.
Of course. But here's some of the things that Dwayne ends up saying that's kind of like, it gives the skeptic something to grab onto. So Dwayne ends up saying that he has seen a similar UFO once before. I think years prior, maybe like when he was a teen. And that he and Travis have said before that if they were ever to witness one, that they would go right up to it, which is exactly what Travis did. He's like, we were always going to be ballsy with UFOs.
Okay, so he did what he said he was going to do.
Exactly. So, I don't know. It just seems like he's opening up a little bit too much about it. Anyways, he also mistakenly mentions that the logging crew were held to a contract deadline and that they would they were really falling behind schedule with it. And so he was just mentioning, like, very, very casually, like, oh, I hope that gets pushed out because now Travis is missing. We can't continue our job. Or the crew can't continue their job. It's just weird to mention.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but then when you actually think about like how ridiculous it would be to, like, push out a work deadline by making an elaborate alien abduction.
I know, that's the thing, is, like, I don't think people are smart enough to do elaborate shit like that. I don't know.
There are so many other ways you can get out of a work deadline without aliens involved.
You don't have to bring aliens involved, and why would you?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So there's that. And that's why people think that it was kind of created as elaborate hoax because they were trying to get out of this contract or something. I don't know. I guess there's money involved. Whatever. The police go back to Travis's mom, Mary, and they start interrogating. Sorry.
You got it.
I got it. They start interrogating her. Damn it.
You did have it.
I did, and I doubled down, and I failed.
Interrogating.
You blew it.
I failed. Scratch this whole podcast.
So confident, and you're like, engage for
I know. I was like, I have a smart moment here, and then I'm going to make it really dumb. I'm just going to pass that word.
Sure, interrogating. I said it for you.
Thank you. They think that she knows more than she's letting on.
Okay.
But she has never changed her story or stance. And, you know, Dwayne was kind of pissed, like, leave my mom alone. She's crying over her son, and you don't need to question her.
She's a saint.
She's an old lady. A couple days later, Mike and the whole crew were now subjected to polygraph tests to try to prove they were telling the truth. This is the 70s, so I guess they, like, take that more seriously. They're always like, you know, you got to do a poly.
Not
a poly.
Shorten it. Let's do a quick poly.
This sounds fun, but it's not. Okay, so the questions that they had to answer were ones like, did you hurt Travis? Do you know where his body is buried? And did you, in fact, see a UFO on November 5th?
Okay, yeah, because he's not found yet, so they're just like...
Yeah.
Okay.
All of them passed, but one of them came back inconclusive. And because of that one, a lot of people take it and run with it, saying that, okay, well, one's lying, so they're all lying.
Inconclusive that's not, like, determining that you were untruthful.
No, and exactly. And they actually explain it... like, so the guy was actually getting really pissed and didn't think that the questions were very fair or that the person was asking them in a tone that was very...
Like a leading way.
Yeah, like, you definitely did it.
Yeah.
And so he got...
That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
You definitely did it.
You did it.
Yes or no?
And so he, like, ripped everything off and stormed out. Of course, that's going to be inconclusive.
Right, because you're upset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's apparently what happened.
Okay.
But it's interesting that the 5 others did pass.
Uh-huh.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. Hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Okay, so the news went wild when it finally broke that Travis randomly returned after 5 days. Mm-hmm. So now we all know that he's back. He has a beard now, and he's
back. He's bearded, and he's ready.
Pretty much.
And they drop him off. I always think it's funny that they drop him off not where they found them. Like, they just...
Right, off a road.
Yeah, and they always have to walk somewhere. Like, you can navigate the stars, but not, like, where they live.
Right, why can't it be in the exact spot?
Yeah.
You think,
You're from Earth. This is Earth.
Yeah.
You're home.
What do you want? It's the planet. It's where you... Yeah. You can walk 2 feet.
Hey, they got the general area right, so whatever. Be haters. It's fine.
Be haters.
So, of course, he did take a medical exam. They tested for any head trauma, injuries, and if there was any drugs in his system, and they did not find anything.
Oh, I'd be like, do a full body scan, please.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure there's nothing floating around in there.
Like chips and stuff
Yeah.
like that? Yeah. Travis also was like, I will take a polygraph test because I know I saw aliens. Mm-hmm. So he's offering that. And he has taken a few throughout the years, and I believe he has passed all of them.
Okay.
Travis also does hypnosis later down the line. As you hear, they do. But with this one, he didn't gather any new memories. He only still remembered the 2 hours out of the 5 days. But with this hypnosis, he was able to see and describe a lot more details and everything without having to deal with the anxiety and trauma of the experience.
Interesting.
So that's how we get like a lot more details.
But I wonder if he was just out the whole time then, like if they just made him be asleep the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I think.
They're like, okay, this one's a wanderer and he likes to push buttons. We're gonna need to just make him go sleepy, sleepy, bye-bye.
Exactly.
Until the probe is done.
Exactly. That's funny. Okay, so all 7 men total have not changed their stories to this day. They say that they all witnessed this UFO. Skeptics will be skeptics and believers will be believers. It's another one of those stories where you're either gonna believe it or not,
right,
kind of thing. Travis did end up writing the book. I did mention that earlier. It's titled Fire in the Sky.
I've heard of that book.
Mm-hmm. And it was turned into probably a very horrible movie.
I think yeah.
Very cheesy. And in the movie, he... Sorry. He's actually really upset with the movie because they portray the aliens really scary, really evil, really, like, actually, like, torturing him on a table. And he's like, that's not my experience.
No.
And the director was like, well, your story is boring, so I have to make it cool.
It's not what the people want.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's what happens in the movie biz.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that, I mean, his book did, I think, make millions. I'm not sure on that. I didn't do all my research. I'm sorry. But I think it was pretty successful for its time. And then, you know, there was a movie. So a lot of people think he did it for the money and the story and the attention. But again, he is not a rich dude. I don't think he makes a lot of money on this at all anymore. He still has a very bad haircut, so he doesn't look like a rich dude.
Wait, what's the haircut? Why is it bad?
It just kind of looks like a straight across like bowl bang cut,
like the page boy, or like the little Dutch boy bangs.
I guess so. Yeah, just very nerdy looking.
Okay,
like, you need to texture those bangs, honey.
Texture them.
It's the hairstylist.
If you're listening, Shawna has some quick tips for you.
texture your bags.
Use a product or two.
Okay. Also, another interesting fact that happened is that apparently, so the exact trees that were around this UFO sighting, quote unquote, they apparently had accelerated growth ever since this situation.
See, I was like burns, but it was the opposite.
It made the trees grow like crazy, and it's interesting because like the same trees around it don't have that accelerated growth. It's just in the spot that it was at.
It like farts out miracle grow.
Yeah, energy miracle grow.
That's amazing.
Like to the point where like a tree, half of it facing the UFO was like crazy different and growing, and the other side of that same tree was different and more normal.
Weird. Oh, yeah. Weird.
Apparently there was like a footage of this. There's a documentary that they show it, but I didn't want to pay to watch it, so. But yeah, I thought that was like really interesting. Like that's what the Earth responded to it.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I think that's
weird.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Travis's theory about his encounter with the aliens is actually he thinks that it was all an accident and they were actually rescuing him. He says that it was an accident that he got hit by the light. They probably didn't see or know that any human being was right there. In that all of a sudden they realized, oh shit, we hurt a human being.
We got one.
We killed one. And that's against their alien space contract that they can't kill humans.
Sure.
So they were like, oh shit, we got to take this dude. And so that's why maybe he was like on that table with that thing on his abdomen who like kind of
to like heal him.
Heal him, yeah. And then like it would take 5 days. That kind of makes sense for him to like recover and do their like space magic on him. And then they dropped him off and he was fine. And because he doesn't remember being probed or anything, he doesn't feel like they were evil at all. They were just very strange aliens.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that they didn't hit him on purpose.
Yeah, I know.
It seems pretty purposeful.
Yeah.
Out of all the places to beam, you beamed that one right where he was?
Sure. But at least like the same result would have been, well, they fixed him and returned him. You know?
Right. But, okay, I feel like I've heard a lot of alien like hybrid theories, which is like what made me think of the more human looking ones,
right?
Because they could be like like
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh my god, yes.
Okay, Benedict Cumberbatch is who I'm talking about. So basically, there's an alien, and then they get humans. They probe us for all of our sexual organ makeup, whatever.
Totally.
Then they use that, and they splice it with alien DNA, and now you have a hybrid, which is like the people who he saw, but they look kind of weird. But my thing is, like, I don't think they went to another planet. I feel like maybe they were somewhere on Earth.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't even think he knows, but
or
he was
bigger
outside
ship in the space.
Yeah.
Ooh, into space.
Into space.
Into space.
I think he actually said that he thinks he was in two different crafts because he describes the first one like before getting abducted being what did I say, like 20 feet in diameter or something like that. And then when he looked back, when he's like in this warehouse thing with the humans and looks back at the craft that they just got out of, he said it was so much bigger, more like 50 or 60 feet in diameter.
2-minute elevator ride doesn't make sense for a ship that's 20 feet in diameter. So
Yeah.
Make more sense.
I have the elevator ride.
You know, there's theories of like motherships and like, you know, multiple ships like can go on to other bigger ships.
Maybe they just like cloak it so we can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Who knows?
Ooh, because I feel like, it was Aliens podcast. They just did
oh, hey guys.
Hey, they just did an episode. Oh, damn it, I can't remember any of the details, but it was like someone witnessed, or a bunch of people witnessed, like a mother craft or whatever. It was huge.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like I've seen some videos online or on shows of like it's like a big mother craft or a light.
What is the word mothercraft?
Mothership, right?
Ship.
Yeah.
I was like, mothercraft is not correct.
But like spewing out different like lights or like other little ships, or I've seen like videos of like just a fleet of lights also in the sky.
That's I think what it was. It was like rows of lights, but they all moved exactly at the same time. So people were like, I think it was one fucking massive ship.
Yes, I know what you mean. There's that too.
ew.
Who knows?
Ew, ew, ew.
Ew, ew, ew.
Ew, ew.
All ew.
Tingle, tingle, ew.
Tingle, tingle, ew.
Yeah, because it makes me
Love
like,
it.
ooh.
But that's it. I mean, take it with what you want, but that's my story.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Isn't that fun? I love aliens.
Ooh, I love that you did that one. You did such a good job. I was like,
Thank you.
in that one.
It's fun.
It's those ones that get me when they have a lot of meat to them.
Meat?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that all the guys have the same story to this day.
Because I feel like you hear of a lot of alien, stories where people later down the road are like, yeah, it was a lie. Like, a lot of them cop to it eventually, or at least one of them if it's a group, and none of these guys have.
No.
So, and like, what is the benefit of keeping it going?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what do they actually get out of it? I don't think anyone who claims to see one gets that much benefit.
Yeah, everyone stares at you in the supermarket probably. They're like, oh, there he goes.
He needs some medication. But anyways, I like it.
Thank you. Thank you for that experience.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me tell it.
What do we got? What do we got? Are you listening to anything that you want to recommend or watching?
Well, I do. Okay, so I'm just doing podcasts because that's like my thing. I'm obsessed. But I found another comedy one that I think you guys might actually like if you haven't heard of it already. It's called Smartless, and it's with Jason Bateman.
Oh.
Sean Hayes.
Okay.
And Will Arnett.
Oh, I love all of them.
So you pretty much have Job and Michael Bluth, and then you have Will from Will and Grace, right?
Yes.
Or no, he's the other guy.
Jack?
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack is
and
the best.
And they're hilarious. And they have celebrity interviews, and they're actually like really like deep conversations, but of course they like insert their humor in there.
Yeah.
And I love those guys. So it's a very nice balance after some deeper stuff. So they're really funny. Check them out. Smartless. They're really cute. They're really fun.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
I just have one thing. I've been listening to the new Alicia Keys album, and it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Go, girl.
It's called Alicia. That's
all you need.
That's all you need.
One name is all you need.
She has some it's just great. Go listen to her new album. She doesn't need me to tell you that, but here I am doing it anyway. Do we want to, maybe we should read some reviews.
Yeah, so, we're trying to figure out a good way to end the, shows like this. So, I don't know if you want to give us suggestions, but now we're going to try to read some reviews. And maybe this will, stick because maybe we'll read yours out loud.
And then you'll be like, I want to hear mine.
Yeah, so we'll read them out to you. Will this work? Let us know. Can anyone tell us, please? Carrie, are you there? Can you tell us?
Carrie? Okay, so this one's from Thursday of this week. And it said, subscribe, you won't forget it. This is from Braveheart 200. It said, I just recently found this podcast and I'm going to binge it. The stories they tell are ones I've never heard before, and I love that they switch off. Keep them coming.
Cute.
Do you want to read this one?
Sure. Okay, so this one's awesome because it's from a fellow Oregon podcast that I found of these two moms explaining some Oregon mysteries. And they said, really enjoying binging and listening to your episodes. Fellow Oregonians unite.
Isn't Oregon Unsolved? Is that what it is?
No, their podcast is called Unexplained Oregon.
Unexplained Oregon.
Yeah, check them out. They're pretty cool.
Okay.
So that was sweet of them.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hey.
Yeah, and then the other one from the September was from Murder File, and they said, love. They said, one of my new favorite podcasts I listen to a lot. These ladies are so funny. Cool titties. And they talk about some interesting cases that I haven't heard before. Can't wait for new episodes. So thanks, guys.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
We don't know if we're doing good all that much. We're like, do people enjoy this?
Yeah. And I know we're not everyone's cup of tea, so thanks for listening.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you so much. We super appreciate it.
And now I guess I shall say where you can find us.
Do it.
Okay. We're on Instagram at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. We have a Facebook group and a page at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. Our Twitter is at AA the Pod. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Anxious and Afraid. And I just want to say that our Patreons now get ad-free episodes. So that's a new perk.
Oh, yay, new perk. Okay, this is, okay.
Ad-free.
Patreon.
Patreon, ad-free. That's another perk. Plus, you get a sticker and a shout out
and an early episode or a day early episode.
Yeah, early episode release.
Okay, we're trying to figure out stuff for Patreon, so thanks for bearing with us.
And we have an email where you can send your stories or suggestions, which is anxiousandafraidthepod@gmail.com. And we have a website, which is anxiousandafraid.com. We also have merch. Check out our merch. The link is on our Instagram. It's also on our website. We have tons of designs.
Always make it thick.
Always make it thick. Bummer City is a great one if you want a fun mask.
Yeah.
And you just want to say, I'm in Bummer City, and now everyone can see that.
Yeah, everywhere is a Bummer City, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So, Shawna, do you want to close it out?
Yeah. Good up. And good night.
Good night.
All right, I did my homework and I used timesofindia.com, wikipedia.com, travis-walton.com, the Lights Out Podcast Episode 3, Bigfoot for Breakfast Podcast Episode 27, and Supernatural with Ashley Flowers Episode 24. Music is by Broke for Free and we're edited by Michael.
Anxious and Afraid is partnered with the Oracle Network.
That is so fucked up. It's fucked up. So fucked up. It is just so damn fucked up. That's fucked up.
This is That's So Fucked Up, a podcast about cults, murder, and other fucked up stuff. Like, really, really fucked up stuff. He cut off her nipples, tore out her heart, tied it to a rope, and hung it on the wall.
This cult has everything: magic, rituals, child sacrifice, cloaks, daggers, and even a little arms dealing.
The fucking sharks ate Mark under the dinghy.
Strangled him to death so violently that he ended up asphyxiating on his own vomit.
Ugh. We're your hosts. I'm Ashley Richards.
And I'm Cameron Dexter.
Join us every Fucked Up Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
and everywhere you listen to podcasts.
That's fucked up.